Hello, and welcome to 5-Minute Math. Today we are looking at the fifth grade concept of solving data problems. This is Standard 5.9C in the great state of Texas, and we are using item number 3 of the 2023 released STAAR test. If you haven't done so already, please go ahead and take a moment to pause the video, work this problem out on your own, unpause it, and we will look at our answers together. All right, so we have a stem and leaf plot here. And honestly, the trickiest thing here is trying to figure out what exactly this means. How do we read this? So our first step is going to be interpreting this data. And we can actually take this data out of the stem and leaf plot and put it into a list. So this key right here is going to help us interpret it. So when we have a 5 and then that vertical line, right, and then a 4, that means 54. So in a lot of cases, this acts as a place value, right? So this is going to be the tens place, right? The stem. And then the leaf is going to be the ones place. Now, it's not always going to be like that because I've seen stem and leaf plots where that might mean like 5.4. So it might be the ones place and the tenths place or something like that. So you always need to look at that key to see exactly what you're looking at. So here are the actual values. So we're going to take the stem here, right? And this stem applies to every leaf on the row. So it's actually a shorter way of showing values. So this 5 and that 2 together are going to make 52. And then you take that same stem and you apply it to that leaf right there. So that's a 5 with a 3 in the ones place. And I've got a 5 and a 4, so that's 54. And I've got a 5 and a 7. Okay, so these four values I just pulled straight out of that row right there. Then I can do the same thing, right, for this. Now, this is where it gets a little bit tricky is look, I've got a 6, right, so I need to start a new tens place. But take a look, I've got two zeros. So it actually can repeat, and that's fine. So all that means is I'm simply going to write 60 twice. And then I've got a 61, and then I've got a 62. All right, so then these four values are those four right there. So take a look. This is my entire data set, right? I wrote it in a row. If you wanted to, you can write them, lengthwise, horizontally. But you notice how this is a much more compact visual representation, right, of this data set right here. One of the purposes of the stem and leaf plot is if you have your data kind of bunched together to where they're all kind of falling within the same small range, right? So you see I've got a whole bunch in the 50s and a whole bunch in the 60s. So a stem and leaf plot makes sense. If I had a data set like, 12, 23, 34, 56, 85, it might not make sense for me to put a stem and leaf plot together because I don't have any repeating tens values, right? So it's not necessarily perfect for every single data set. But what this helps me do is this helps me see the frequency within a small range. So I've got four values in the 50s and I've got four values in the 60s simply because I have four leaves on each of those stems. Now, I'm looking for the difference in height between the tallest and the shortest. Now, hopefully we saw that and we're thinking, you know what that is? That's actually the range. So that's a vocabulary term that we work on. That's the spread of the data. So the tallest and the shortest, and then find the difference between those two. So now it's pretty easy to pull these two out, right? So I've got 62 and I've got 52. So if we just take these two, 62 and 52, right, that's going to be 10. So obviously we've got that answer right there. We could have pulled this out straight from the stem and leaf plot, but we would have to know how to read this, right? So here's my shortest. It's going to be the top left. And then my highest is going to be on the bottom row, the farthest right. So there's my 52 right there. And there's my 62 right there. Subtract those two. Answer is B, 10.